I'm just going to do a brief introduction to both our speakers. Pachu Menon is a writer and columnist. He has authored several books, including An Unprejudiced View and Bon Voyage. His writings often delve into political and social issues, reflecting his keen observations and insights. Menon contributes articles to various publications such as Indian Currents, where he has penned pieces like Tainted Politicians on the Rise and Freedom for All, A Distant Dream. Through his work, he engages readers in critical discussions on contemporary topics. Thank you so much for being here, sir. And Professor Manoj Kamat is an academic scholar, researcher, and a prominent figure in the fields of economics and education. As a writer, columnist, and political economic commentator, Professor Kamat has authored over 700 columns in the past 8 years, known for his sharp analytical critiques on economic and political issues. A passionate writer and reader in multiple languages, he is a well-known personality in Goa's literary, art, social, and political circles. Welcome both.
Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Respected Jnanapitkar Mauzoji, other eminent dignitaries in this amongst the audience, and of course the man of the match of today's evening, today's afternoon. This particular session, the main spotlight is on the author, and the author is Mr. Pachu Menon. Pachu Menon obviously is not a novice writer. Each one staying in Goa know him very closely as a very, very sharp commentator. Pachu Menon, if you ask me to introduce Pachu Menon, more than a creative author, Pachu Menon is known in the state of Goa and in other parts of the country as a very, very, critical commentator of things. His commentaries are instant. His commentaries are straight from the heart. He is not shy of calling a spade a spade. And he is also very quick to react. Let there be one incident somewhere, next day on an important column, on the most prominent newspaper, whether it's of the state or the country or a region, you have Pachu Menon reflecting his opinions very hard, straight, on the point. And he is never shy of taking a stand. We meet authors, we meet writers, we meet columnists. At the end of the column, it's very difficult sometimes to figure out with most of them what they want to say. Because when we read columns, it is an expression of thought. We are not just looking for data, we are not just looking for information. Obviously, if you just flip pages of the other newspapers, you will know what has happened, why it has happened. But Pachu Menon looks into the psychological, the emotional aspects of it, the economic aspects of it, the sociological aspects of it. And his pen, then it becomes a surgeon's knife, where he dissects every issue layer by layer, point by point. And there is an expression of views rather than presentation of news. This is Pachu Menon. As a notable columnist in the print media, including the Navin Times, the most popular daily, Pachu Menon now has ventured into creative writing. And the book, which is the part of today's discussion, A Baker's Dozen, is a collection of some short stories. And as the author likes to say, some of them are too sweet. And some sour. But then this sweetness and sourness comes from realism, comes from reality, comes from what he has experienced. And obviously the author mentions that it is not the work of fiction. But then as we encounter a number of people in our day-to-day lives, author reflects. He reflects on their opinions. He reflects on the events. He reflects why the person has reacted in a particular way, in a particular manner at that particular time. And then he creates a world of story. He views a story around, and that's beautiful tapestry has come in form of this book. So congratulations, Pachu Bab, for a beautiful book, where I also had an honor of being the part of the book release function, A Baker's Dozen. Pachu Bab, I'll ask you a first question. From being a columnist, from writing what has happened in the society and then reflecting your opinions, you have gone into the realm of creative writing. And that too, you have picked this beautiful genre called short stories. In the genre of creative writing, sir could have picked up one novel, or he could have started writing a novel, he could have started writing maybe a play. Poems come very naturally for people who are thinkers. But then Pachu Menon chose to write short stories.
I'll be very frank. Everything happens to me by default. Everything happens to me by default. I mean, I am called a writer by default. I never meant to be a writer. I was never meant to be a writer. That's what I felt. My better half tells me that you read so much, it's better that you start writing too. That's how it happened. I'll come to that later. Here, what had happened was, after coming out with so many columns, someone suggested me that I write a novel. A thing we started around 4 years back. But somehow I never seem to go more than 30 to 40 pages of it. So then I thought, why not cut these things short and make short stories out of it. And then there was quest for characters. That's when I thought, see, I don't fantasize. I see so many things happening around me. I travel by train, I get characters from there. So I thought I'll build a small story around them and make it short stories. So nothing imaginative. Whatever is there, whatever I am picking up, I am making them into stories. For example, in this, there is a story about a pet dog. I mean, I won't call it a pet dog, a stray dog, which as a puppy strayed into our house. I mean, that guy was so adorable. But then again, as you categorize him, it's a stray dog only. I gave him the name Arjun. It so happened that I'm a Keralite, based in Goa for the last 52 years. There was a movie called CID Musa. So the name of the dog in that movie, there was a guy, Arjun. I made my Arjun the same guy, the hero of that. So he was there along with us for nearly 4 to 5 years. And with us, in the sense, he would come to our door and lie down there. Otherwise, the full day he disappears. Only during the lunch and dinner, he knows what time to come. And the morning hours, when I go for my morning walk, this guy comes from somewhere. So these are the type of characters I've got, and I made them into stories. That's how it happened.
Wow, so look at this, the students, if you have a habit of reading, and if you also have a habit of writing, even if you are not habitual to writing, you must write sometimes. Try to express your thoughts. And you never know, whatever you see, animals, stray dogs, etc. can also be characters. And now they occupy an important part of the plot. Sir, how was the journey from being a columnist, and how is it different from being a creative writer today?
Columns come to me very naturally. I don't think it takes me more than around 1.5 hours to 2 hours to write.
To write a column.
And I am writing around 4 to 5 columns a week for different publications. But short stories, yes, I wait for something to happen, to get an idea of it, and then make it into a story.
But for writing columns, things keep on happening, and then you pick up.
Yeah.
But then there are many things happening. How do you pick up a particular column, meaning a particular theme?
With regard to the short story.
Yes.
I was traveling by a train.
Okay.
I'm supposed to be very, what do you call that, very kind-hearted and very helpful.
Supposed to be kind-hearted.
Yeah, supposed to be. I put that word within it, but supposed to be. Yeah, supposed to be. So I get a foreign lady with a child coming in there. They did not have a reservation. It was a second AC. Second AC, you expect some decent guys coming inside. Okay. They come in, and I spoke to the TC. I got a ticket, a berth for them. In the night, just to move out, I had to urinate. I went out. When I came back, I find my purse missing. And then after some time, I hollered. I called my wife, and she must have misplaced it somewhere or the other. After that, when I again come back to it, I get the purse, but no money inside. I gave the title of Atiti Devo Bhava. We are supposed to be, treating them as gods. This is what gods are doing to us. So that's how I get that story.
Well, now here we have students. You please tell them, as you said, you like to read, and then you read a lot. Meaning, what are the different genres you read? Who are your favorite authors, your favorite poets?
Now, before coming to Goa, my father was an army man.
Okay.
We were in a place called Jabalpur. And I tell you, there is plenty of difference in pattern of education in Madhya Pradesh, Jabalpur to be frank, and of course all missionary schools only, and Goa. We had a period called library. We were supposed to read books. And the next week when we go and submit a book, we have to write a small explanation of what you have read that very day. That's how we inculcated those habits. So we started with Enid Blyton and all those things, and then graduated to a higher level. And now today the position is that I read anything that is printed. I don't have anything else. Jo bhi pada hua hai, take it and read it. It's like that.
You must take a clue here. Normally teachers and your parents complain that their children don't read. And then here we have a writer, now who has made a name for himself, for his writing, for his columns, etc. He says, I love to read, and I love to read anything which is available. Now look at this difference. Sir, what is it you want to tell to your young students here?
Young students, I don't know. I mean, every podium I've been talking about the same thing. Reading is on the decline. Unfortunately, it's on the decline. And that's, I find it is...
They say they read through the WhatsApp and the Facebook.
Yeah, Mr. Google. What else? Mr. Google is helping them out for everything. You ask them anything, I mean, no harm meant, no ill effect, please. Whatever you ask them, within no minutes, yes, they give you the answer. And even when you try to explain it to them, they say, no, it's given here. So that is the knowledge you are gaining. It's much better if you come to the print, read things, try to understand, rather than for instantaneously just tap of the finger, you're getting the news or materials. That's what I want to say. Start inculcating the reading habit.
Start inculcating the reading habit. What should the students read at this particular age? What is your suggestion?
The age
depends on their interest. Look at their age. They are around 18.
No. I have seen people who have been reading heavy material. Material even at this age. That is the difference between our age and their age. We were taught to graduate slowly, step by step, like children's books, and then you come to books which are like bigger. And then again you come to, then we graduated to this Chase book, James Hadley Chase, and then we came to those higher type of novels, Robin Cook and all those things. Here people, I find even in 11th and 12th, they are ready with the thing. But most of them are not with the books. They are either with the Kindle or they are with mobile. Download on the mobile and read it. That doesn't serve the purpose.
You want them to experience the book, to feel the book, to smell the book.
The smell of the book. That's what I meant to say.
Wonderful. Sir, as you have been reading for years now, what are your favorite genres? Who are your favorite authors?
Nothing like that. I read anything.
You read everyone?
Anything. Right now, Mr. Dalrymple will come. I don't have much of a fancy for the guy, but I heard him speaking here. I picked up his book. Let me see what it says.
Among the Goan authors, what do you read?
Among the Goan authors, no. Radha Rao Gracious, therefore yesterday, has given me a book. Valmiki used to write very well. A good friend of mine is no more now. You don't have to say anything about Bai. Bai is on a level, totally a different level. My books also, what I found in Goa is, there is more of a market for, the regional languages.
Correct.
So in fact, my publisher was telling that he was interested in translating my books into Kannada, Konkani and Marathi. I mean, that would be a better, nothing could have been better, because it's going to a wider audience. It's not just, restricted to English reading. So
language should not be a barrier.
Should not be a barrier.
In fact, it is advised that you start reading in your vernacular language so that you can understand the context well, and then you take the habit and gradually start reading other languages as well. Sir, as you started writing this Baker's Dozen, you have written, which is your favorite character among the many? Arjun.
Definitely.
Would you like to read?
Why not?
Some passages or some sentences from Arjun?
I would like people to go and buy it and read it for them. And of course, make me a bit richer also.
Sir, how does a story develop in your mind? What is the process of writing a story?
Frankly speaking, I don't know. It just comes.
It just comes.
I don't have any fixed thoughts or anything.
When you start writing, is the story already there in your mind which you pen?
No, I have the character in mind.
Okay.
The story develops around.
Story develops as you start writing. Yeah. Look at this particular style as well. There are many authors who say that the story is here. I just need a pen to translate my thinking into words. And here is one writer who says that I only have a character in my mind. Character is my injecting point. And then I lift the pen. The story develops on its own. Yes, let us.
I will not go into Arjun.
Yeah.
Let them read it for themselves. I'll go into the details of Atithi Devo Bhava.
Atithi Devo Bhava. Yes.
Yeah. This will do.
Yes.
It is difficult to say whether the Sanskrit verse defines the code of conduct for our society. That is Atithi Devo Bhava. But yes, as a tagline, it has served the tourism ministry well, and their mission to improve the treatment of tourists in India. मेहमान का ऐसा करो सत्कार, जाए दोस्त बन के, आए बाजार बन के. As a Ministry of Tourism Government of India initiative, such ad campaigns have sought to drive home the point that our country very religiously follows the dictum that for us, Indians, the guests are equivalent to God. With a host of celebrities lending their voice to the campaign, a lot has been said about impressing the visitors to the country with glimpses of a rare sense of hospitality that leaves a very everlasting memory in their minds so that they take home fond memories of a wonderful land. But what should be our reaction to the crafty ways of some of our valued guests who think nothing of exhibiting their skills at relieving their hosts of their precious valuables if provided an opportunity without any hesitation whatsoever? The story elaborates. It goes after this. I'll leave it at this. I mean, you all buy the book and see whether it's worthy of buying too.
So the title of the book is A Baker's Dozen.
Yeah.
Now what is this Baker's Dozen?
A baker's dozen, if English book, I mean,
If they know the thing is 13 stories. Poder, you go to a Poder, you ask him for
That one extra.
One extra. So here it is a basket of, a loaf of, what do you call that, a basket of bread. Well, I have given one extra.
Okay, it's a basket of 12, meaning a basket of dozen with one extra, and that is Baker's Dozen. So how did this this particular concept
I
strike
read the
to you?
same titles in some other book.
Okay.
I took it over.
So
Call it
these are-
plagiarizing.
These are inspirations.
Okay.
This is not called plagiarism. So, more about the book, more about the characters. Which is a character which you like other than Arjun?
No, the
Atityu Devo Bhava seems to be a very
My character, my best character is my wife. There is a story on that.
story on wife too.
She is my motivator too. Now, I underwent a very major surgery
Yeah.
in 2005. Till then, I wasn't writing anything at all. I was a voracious reader. I am a voracious reader. So one fine day while recouping after the surgery, I had a heart surgery. My wife had taken me to the beach. So it was all dark around everywhere, Kolwa. And she said, you read so much, why don't you write something about these things? So my journey started as a letter writer to the papers. That is what I would advise the younger generation to. You see so many things happening around you all. You keep mum about it. Not that writing will help you in any way. I've been writing for so many years. The society has not changed. But then you are doing your part. So anyway, so that is how it started. My first letter was published, and the letter to editor column went on for around 2 to 3 years. And then I get calls from the editors of all these papers. They say, Pachu, what are you doing? You're just writing letters. You've got a subject in hand. Why don't you elaborate it? You become a writer for us. That is how as a columnist, my journey started. And then, in say around 2002, an idea came about compiling all this. That happened because of the governor here. He had invited me over for some function, so he came to know that I am a writer. So he said, how many books have you published? I said, no, I haven't published anything. Then what sort of a writer you are? The same thing Bhai also had announced in one of those meetings when I met. He said, unless a writer publishes a book, you're not a writer. So I had enough of these columns with me. I compiled quite a lot of them, and I made my first book. That is With No Prejudice to Anyone. That was my first book. And then I traveled extensively. I wrote about so many places. I made that book into another one, Born Voyage. And then the second book, which was released lately, was again a collection of my columns. And then this idea of short stories came up. That's how it came.
You've just heard about the journey of an author. From being a letter writer, regularly writes letters on different issues plaguing the society. From there he translates himself and he progresses into a columnist, writes columns. And then his experience, his background shapes his thinking. And then he slowly compiles his various columns into a book format and then gets into creative writing. Sir, what is more tougher? As you said, you sometimes back said that you take only say one or 1.5 hours to write a column, but to write a story, how much time do you take and what do you think is more tougher job?
I think writing a story.
Writing a story is more tougher.
Definitely. Because for columns, you have newspapers. You have the newspapers and so many other places where you can refer. You can get details. And I don't write without any proper research. I don't leave any loopholes. So I take up those things and then I elaborate on that and I leave the solution to the to the reader. I don't give any solutions. I'm very clear about it. Being a politician, I suppose. I don't give solution. The solution is left up to you all. You all decide what is to be done.
Well, sir has just now said that his wife is his greatest motivator. Is she also your first reader? Or the first listener to your stories?
Yes, she's been the first listener.
And how does she react every time? Is she critical?
She's always critical.
Always critical.
And that story, I mean, why critical, I will say that,
Yeah.
which again has come into a short story in this book. After the surgery, I had gone to meet somebody at Apollo. It was, the Victor Hospital was Apollo Hospital that time. So I found people waiting outside the ICU, all troubled and the relatives. So every time a doctor comes, people would just stand up and all those things like that. So I told my wife, what is happening here? Doctors are coming inside and this doctors are coming out. These people are running around asking them. So she started telling me, you don't know what has happened. You were very nicely in the ICU with all those tubes and everything put inside you. All the trouble was for me, all the pain. Every time the doctor comes, you don't know what news or message he is coming out with. So experience that, then you will know it. That is how. So I said, that also became a story.
So what was the most challenging part when you were writing a baker's dozen? And how did you overcome those challenges?
Writing a baker's dozen, the biggest challenge was getting a publisher. Getting a publisher was the biggest challenge. But then I had Mr. Manekar, who came to me, approached me. He said he would like to publish a few of my books. And he said it would be an honor doing that. That's how it started.
But did you also think of publishing your stories through the newspapers or the print media or various magazines? That thought did not occur to you?
Never. It never occurred to me. Now I will. Since you have told me, I will definitely do that.
Well, let me take one or two questions from the audience, because you have been listening and then he has been quite frank in saying and expressing to every question which was asked to him. One or two questions from the young audience, those who like to read or those who like to write or those who have started writing.
Go on, plenty of time. Yeah.
I'll just take one or two questions and then we can further continue with our discussion. Otherwise, the students.
They may fall asleep.
Yeah.
That's true. You all had your lunch?
Yes, all of them.
How many of you are feeling drowsy already?
Well, I'll take just two questions from the audience about what challenges you all face when you all write, or tell us about what you read. So then we can exchange our ideas with the author too. How many of you all write regularly? At least for your own? Yes, we have one teacher here.
What do you write?
Students?
You're a teacher.
Yes. Among the students? Do you write diaries? Yes.
Very nice, very nice.
Very good. Anybody else who writes regularly? Okay, share with us. What do you write? What is typically that excites you?
I think I have a blog I write.
What
Yes.
is that?
She writes a blog. You write a blog on?
All in long stories, so I usually I don't know.
So you express your thoughts on economic events.
Very nice.
Oh, very nice. That's
Very nice, very
that's a
nice.
great thing.
What are you doing?
One economic,
Economics major from which college? Carmel College.
Very nice,
That's
very
great.
nice, very nice.
The next girl?
I write a special day.
You write about?
Special days.
Special?
Special days.
Special days.
Random picture.
Okay. Also about special people?
No, no.
And what are the special occasions?
Like a fun day with my friends for a picnic.
A fun day, just elaborate on that.
Last week, we went for a picnic department. I'm now second.
Okay.
Excited about it. I took some pictures, I printed them out, stuff my diary.
Wow. So any particular incident, good or bad, you feel like writing or converting it in kind of a story or something like that? I've not tried yet. So look at this. She's just like you. She picks up some events or experiences and then she writes it.
Maybe after 2-3 years, you would be sitting here. We would be asking you a question.
Now for her to sit here after 2-3 years, what are the suggestions you would give for such kind of a writer who writes for herself now? So your mic here.
I find traces.
Mic.
I find traces of me in her.
Okay.
Go ahead. I mean, you can get characters out of this
fun events and all those things, and then go into some more serious writing. It would be nice. I wanted to ask the teacher what she writes.
So I write poems, I quotes, I do passages as well. Side ranking short stories.
Writing short stories.
Short stories, a bit fun, if this game or stuff.
What are the themes? What are the themes, and what are the typical characters in your stories?
So basically, I write about human emotions. I write about inspiration.
Human
Emotions.
Emotions. I'm a nature lover. Love writing about nature, and travel diaries because I travel mostly during my weekends and all. So I do that, and mostly about the inspiration and emotions that I feel at that particular moment.
And what do you teach?
I teach English.
Where?
SS Dempo College, Kujira, Sir's Institution. Yeah.
Okay.
We have interesting writers amongst our teachers as well.
Yes.
One or two students more. Let us know what do you think? What do you write?
What do you think about writing? Your thoughts, putting thoughts onto paper and all. Anyway, suggestions.
Putting your experiences on paper, putting it in form of a story, bringing in some characters.
That is how I made up this book. I mean, you have so many things, so many ideas.
Sir, tell us the process of how these ideas translate into stories.
See, you come now. Another example.
Yeah.
You're traveling.
Yes.
You hear. I mean, you see those men in blue, traffic police, chalaning you everywhere. Then one fine day, you get another guy, a policeman. He is standing there, supposed to be regulating the traffic there. The guy is busy with the mobile. You got a character to write. Elaborate on that. What are the things going on? You have so many traffic problems happening. You have so many accidents happening. The person who is supposed to be enforcing the law, he is doing such things. What is the point? So that becomes a story. So I don't go searching for it, or I don't fantasize, into the realms of fantasy to get ideas. So many things are there around you. You can write about it. That's how stories develop.
You need to start writing your experiences, and then view a story around
That,
some
as the
kind of
girl said,
experience.
yeah.
Yes.
So her thing, that is how you write.
Any other
according
question?
to me, according to me.
Any other question from the audience before we have another set of questions to the author?
So what would you suggest the elements for writers and the readers? Because mostly nowadays we see that students don't want to read.
So, and we also have a section in our syllabus wherein there is a blog creation and you need to post on the blog. So, I just wanted them to write something, even if they write like 4 to 5 sentences, that would do. So, I kept it as my ISC and students are really enjoying it. But what about the people, or what about the students who are not having such kind of a platform, what would you
My
suggest
feeling
them?
is that unless people start reading, they will not be able to write.
Correct, sir. Correct.
You got it. So first,
Yes.
as I said earlier, inculcate the habit of reading. You must try that with the students. And not reading on the mobile. Read books, good books. Then automatically they will get an idea of writing. Then maybe your dream will be true. May come true. It's like that.
So your
Thank you,
Baker's
sir.
Dozen is a collection of 13 stories.
Yeah.
What are the key takeaways or lessons you want the readers to take from this?
I leave it to them. I said, I don't give solution. I leave it to them.
Okay.
Let them decide what is what. I mean, every story has a moral. So it is for them to decide what that moral is. I'm not offering them anything.
Sir doesn't want to offer anything ready-made. So therefore, when you look at his writing and look at the end part of the story, it keeps you open for interpreting what happens next.
No two people will have the same comment. That's what I mean. And everyone will frame their own ideas. Everyone will have their own thoughts about it.
So you wrote about events, you wrote about experiences, you wrote about your travel journeys, you wrote about this day-to-day events being translated into
Stories.
beautiful small stories. What next now?
And as I told you, my novel is in the making, but I don't know when it is going to come out. This is the 4th year. As I told you, now I came to around 120, 130 pages. And then again, you have that mental, as you call the writer's block. Then again, I started writing, and then finally, I think to myself, why should I write so much? Why don't I condense this into short stories? So a book which is coming in as a novel suddenly translates into short stories.
Well,
That is what
because
is happening.
please understand the formats also. In a short story, you have limited space, and you talk about one incident, one episode, some group of people. But while writing a novel, you have a bigger canvas. But then sir says when he starts writing a novel, instead of completing that canvas, he picks up small elements from that and then translates into small
No,
stories.
that could be my inability to write a novel too. Let me be frank. Maybe I am not able to fit in all the
And-
characters into the lab.
And worldwide, remember, every particular writer says writing novel is the most difficult thing which can happen to an author.
Not everyone can write like that.
Yes, not everybody can write novels. Sir, what do you think are the critical elements in writing a novel, and how is it different from your experience about
Novel,
writing short
what
stories?
I thought was continuity. If you are not able to get
Focus.
a person to move over from chapter 1 to chapter 2, you are a failure. You are not in a position to write any novel. So it's just not possible. So what you need to do is build up a continuity. That takes some time. It's an art. Not everybody is blessed with that. That's why I said I keep on writing. Suddenly I felt no, I'm losing track. I pick up those characters and make a short story. Much easier for me. Like that. I mean, I've been a failure as a novel writer.
Friends, as beginners, we were always told to read. Why reading? Because people said you'll become a better person, more experienced person, more matured person. Sir, you are on the other side of reading. You read too as you also write.
Yeah.
But how has writing changed your perceptions? How has writing changed your maturity levels? And how do you think you have evolved as a writer over this period of time?
While writing, I'm putting across my suggestions. So I would expect that to be implemented everywhere. I mean, this is the way things should be moving. This is the way it should be happening. But unfortunately, no, it doesn't happen at all. It's all in the thoughts, only on the paper. It never translates into reality. The worst part of it. So you have ideas, you want it that way, you put it across, but then unless the society takes it up, how does it fact? It doesn't move like that.
So when you write columns, you have a bigger readership.
Very true.
Because next day it appears on the print media and then everyone reads, people call you, etc. How have you been received after a baker's dozen?
Because it was not bad. My first edition is already sold out.
Very nice.
Okay, I haven't had much of adverse comments coming across, but neither have some good comments come across. But I know that.
What are the kind of suggestions you have been getting, or any particular incident where you went outside and people recognized you as a writer of this book, etc.?
Yes, it happened in quite a lot of colleges.
Okay.
Where I had gone to give the books, so it was a grand welcome also. I didn't know that so many people read my books, so many people read my columns. So in fact, it's nice to be known. That's what I feel. As an author, if you are known, if you are recognized, fine.
Any critical comment you still remember and then you have improved upon?
No, I haven't received any critical.
Great. So that means
No, never.
sir is a very acclaimed writer. No critical comments where sir has taken it to heart.
No,
And then he feels that as a writer he is
yes.
evolving constantly.
Yes,
that
it
reminds you
happened.
something.
Yes, that is when I was writing letters to the editor.
Okay.
Any Muslim girls around here? Yeah, they. No ale, don't take any ale, please. Yeah. What had happened was that was the time when terrorism was at its peak, and you had people moving around with hijab, covering their faces and those helmets on their top. So I just made a casual mention about it. No, ladies. Yeah, ladies should not be. I mean, girls should not be moving around with their faces covered. I had written about it. The only controversial thing that I did. The very next day, I get a strong, what do you call that? A lousy comment for coming out from another reader, saying that how the ladies dress is not your prerogative. We know how to dress and what to do. That is the only adverse comment I received my entire career. After that, I haven't written anything about dressing.
That was a learning point for you.
Very much so, yes. Especially ladies.
Not to intrude into someone
What you
else's
wear is
space.
your problem. That's it.
Not to intrude into someone's space. Not to comment on something which can be termed as very personal by someone. So, can you describe your writing process or your writing habits?
Writing habits as good as my reading habits. I must read something and I must write.
How much time do you spend reading every day?
Reading might be around an hour or so.
Around an hour or so. Students, how much time do you spend studying every day? All right. And what about writing?
Writing, I start say somewhere around 8:39.
8:39 in the morning or night?
9.
At night,
Wind
okay.
up by around 11 o'clock.
And wind up by around 11 o'clock. So if you have seen what is the process of writing, and sir is very candid in saying that he has been more than a writer, He is known to be a good reader, and he calls himself as a good reader. And this is what shapes your thinking. This is how you get words to write. This is how you can translate your experiences into something which is creative. And we have seen in this last 30-40 minutes and journey how a writer has evolved. With few of his, very, very creative books which have come, but he has evolved as a writer, writing for a number of years, accepted by people. He says that he continues to get comments. People continue to recall that you are Mr. So-and-so whenever he goes out. And then your identity changes. What if Pachu Menon had just kept that reading onto himself? What would have happened if Pachu Menon had not started writing? Would have been a different person altogether. And today you have a completely evolved, completely, matured, gentleman, who is also very sensitive to what he must write, sensitive to what one should say, and how sensitive one must be in a very, very public setting. So these are some key takeaways, not only from the writer, not only from his writings, but also from his own personal experiences. Pashuba, we have seen you writing from columns, from letter writer, from being a letter writer to being a columnist, from being a columnist to writing short stories. And then you have also told us now your last 3 to 4 years you are in the process of writing a novel. So by next 14th GALF, we will see Pachu Menon. We expect Pachu Menon to come here as an, well-received novelist for his maiden novel, which is expected to come.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So would you like to release some snippets or tell us some secrets about what is it you are writing on? And that is my last question.
That's going to be a suspense, because it's going to be a suspense thriller. Okay, let's keep it
So
at
at least now we know that it is going to be a thriller and it is going to be a suspense thriller. So Pachu Menon, from being a commentator, live commentator, a critical commentator, a short stories writer, to a suspense thriller writer, good wishes to you.
Thank you, thank you. Before we end, it's nice to be known. It's nice to be known. So what I would urge you people, your students, youngsters, engage in activities that gives you a good name.
Very nice. Beautiful.
Understood. Writing is a very good art. You are putting your thoughts across. People recognize you for your thoughts, your ideas. Start writing. And at the same time, when you go out, please buy my books also. Do me a favor.
Okay? Bye.
So continue reading, continue writing, and continue to be good people. Thank you so much for giving us an opportunity.
Thank you so much to both of you. It's not every day that you get tips and tricks on writing from someone as esteemed as Pachu Menon. So thank you so much. And I think it's so important for us to remember as writers to continue engaging with the world in multiple ways. And one advice that my godfather told me in writing was that write something, anything, every single day. No matter what it is, whether you've seen a bird that you like or something, but just write something every single day, and one day something might come out of it. So yeah, thank you so much to both of you.
Thank you, Bashna.